Okay, so hello everyone. So this is a tutorial video on how to create the uh, basically use your Figma to design your card games and board games and how to prepare it for illustrators and printing. So right now I have an empty design file. The name is, you could just name it as your game name and also your name. I created a section here. Well, I can delete it and create it again just to show you. I mean, the section doesn't mean anything. It's mostly like for organization purpose. I would call it demo. And then what I want to show you is basically kind of like how you can use the games to well, for example, my own games in my here. Basically, the effects will look like that you can toggle things on and off, and also just like back and toggle the back on and toggle different symbols on, but also like you can keep the overall designs. So this is one of the games that I was developing before, and then so as you can see, these are all different cards, but they are actually follow the same template. But also like by toggling some of these, I can control whether it's showing the back, like some of the symbols, and I can also change the drawings in there if I want. Yeah, so that will be really easy for you to organize your cards. And also I added sort of like the crop marks. Well, these are the old crop marks. I haven't changed those yet, but basically like, yeah, like basically where you want to like slice it after you're printing it. So so now let's go back to our design files. I want to create our first the template. So you create this template, then like all the other cards will be kind of like of this size. So you could just name it as the card template, and then you can size it. We want to size it to the ratio that we want to use. So I will just go down here on this little button here, then you can find plugins. Under the plugins, you search something called Unitor, and then this will pop up. It's a free plugin that can help you resize your file. So you first select this. It's gonna tell you how big your frame is, but then you can size it to whichever thing you want to. Poker size are inches wise is 2.5 inches, and then 3.5 height, and then you can keep the DPI at 72. Usually for screen is commonly it's like dot, it means dot per inches. For screen is usually 72. For printing, you want it to keep it at 300, but since everything on Figma is vectorized, which means that we can scale it in Figma, in Illustrators, however big we want, unless you're inserting images. That's another story. But I mean, when you're exporting it to Illustrators, it should be also like pretty easy to export. But anyway, so like although if you're inserting images, like rasterized images, it would be a little problem. But anyway, like first, right now we can keep it at 72. So this is kind of like how big it is, and then so this is our card template. I would also just start off giving it column and grid, so that you can have a kind of like so this is the columns. At least you have a margin. So I would set this to 10, but only one row, and then this also to 1, and then the margin to 10. So now we have kind of like the margin that we can take reference on. Okay, so now I want to also create like the crop mark here. So what I want to do is that I want to create a crop mark that also align to each of these corners, so that if I ever need to resize it, the crop mark's gonna follow these. So what I'm gonna do is I will use the pen tool, and then I'm gonna just draw and then hold shift, draw this little line here. You could also change the width to like 0.5 to make it thinner, that's fine. And then just so that it's just exactly leaning on it. And then we can hold Alt key, drag it, and then we can hold Shift so that it's aligning to sort of like strictly aligning to the horizontally. And then we hold Alt key, drag, and then also Shift so that it's kind of like following the horizontal or vertical alignment, so that it sort of like snaps. And then we can also Alt, and then we can hold Shift so that it's rotating also in like snapping, so that and then like this might be our horizontal one. Hold Alt key, and then move it to the side. Alt key, move it to the side. Alt key. Okay, so these will be our crop mark. Now sometimes we will also have kind of like what we call a bleed. So we can keep it like around 3 here. Usually it's 3 centimeters, but sometimes you can sort of like based on whatever you need, especially if you're producing on your own. But if you are making it like for the print, usually you won't be creating these crop mark by yourself. Then you would just need whatever that's within the content itself, basically whatever only within this frame, and then like the print shop will create the crop mark for you, or like when they're producing it they will do the crop mark. Okay, and then like we have this, then also that we need another over there. Yeah, so these are bleed crop. So the bleed means like you can first cut it over this this range, and then, well, let me make sure, is it the same? I feel like I don't know whether it's the same, like, oh, okay, oh, this one is outside of the frame, so we're gonna drag it in, and then select this, hold Alt, and then make sure that it's okay. Okay, so the bleed means like that's the amount that you want to crop before you committed to cropping everything of it. Oh yeah, so so that's the crop. I feel like it's a little bit, okay, a little bit too, okay, yeah, so that should be good. But now you see, like if I stretch it, oh, it is kind of like following actually. Well, great. Sometimes it's not, but like usually I would also just double check if it's not following for you by any chance. That means you want to like change it to snap it to the left. Okay, yeah, the constraint here. I would usually just like toggle it to the top and the right and the top, so that just make sure that sometimes it won't really follow whatever size that you have. So I will, for example, this is on the top right, I will just also align it to the top right, and these two, so that they're actually following you on the top right. And then I will also can also box select these so that they're also aligning on the top left. I will select these so that they're aligning to the top bottom left, and then I will rename these actually. The bottom left say BL crop. Let's say BR crop. And then top right crop. Top left crop. This is top right crop. And right crop. This is top right crop. That's all the places there's top left crop. And so left every name. This is bottom left B. Add two. Bottom left horizontal. Oh, that was the H. B. Okay. H. H. I mean, you can see it's hard. Like, I'm gonna do it anyway. B. Sweet. Okay. Okay, so we're finishing it. This one's these are the same. I guess. Okay, if I have some repeated ones. This is Lee. Okay. Okay, then I think I will just also group them. Crop marks. Okay. So now we can create whatever that's within the card. So for example, I'm gonna create just within this the frame here. Okay, just snap it in, and then I'm gonna give it a feel. Let's say the card background is like this. Let's say it's like this blue thing, and I want it to be a round corner. So what I can do is I can click here, like in the appearance here on beside opacity, there's a corner radius already. So we can say I want it to be 8 radius. So it's kind of like rounded like this. You can change it to whatever you want. So now it already kind of looks like a card. Then let's say like we want a little bit edge of this card. So we can Command C and V. Oh, sorry, Command C. Okay, let me see. Like say this is the card, and then Command C and Command V. This is the card inside card. I will put this within the card frame, and then I will change this color to let's say orange right now. Well, now it's over covering it because it's the same size. So I will just resize it a little bit. But now you see it's like snapped to the left and top corner. So what we can do is we select we select the two cards. We'll first select this one and then select the other one. Select them, and then we can go to align vertically align. I think they're not selected together. Oh, sorry. I probably should. Yeah, I should drag it out first. Okay, let me select both of them first. Align, and then align. Okay, now I can drag the card inside. Oh, I did it the other way around. Inside the card. Okay, now it is. So, but right now, if we change this color template, you see the card size is not changing. So I want it to also snap to the corner of the basically this print format. So I want to basically constrain left and right, and then top and bottom. I'm selecting the card component. By the way. So now if we're dragging, now the card itself is snapping to the left and right because the constraint is being applied, so it's changing. Like whenever it's changing, it's applied to it. So what we can do is we can also do the same for the inner of it. So this is yeah, now it's doing the same. Great. So Now we have a basic card template, and then now you can sort of customize whatever you want for the inside of the card. Let's say you want to have a symbol over here. So in order to have a symbol, that will be kind of something that's replaceable. So let's say I created I'm gonna create like a square thing like here. This is called well, let's call it icon. And then I want to make it round. I will always try to use frame instead of it's very easy to confuse the frame and the shape here, rectangle. Rectangle doesn't hold anything, it's just a shape. And then you can also do other shape, but frame will be something that you can hold things and then move things. They will have a hierarchical structure for it. So I would always prefer to have, even if I'm making circle, I would prefer to have frame instead of shape if you want to have something in there. So now have this icon. I can fill it with a color. Let's say I actually have it to maybe yellow. Okay. The color scheme of this is super weird. So this is the icon. Now you can draw something in it. So there's a draw function in Figma. I demonstrated it before. So for example, I will use this pencil tool. Then let's say this is a heart, and then we'll do a heart shape. This will be my first icon right now, and then my computer is super slow right now. It's okay. So this will be an icon, but I want to make it into a component and then insert it in there. It will be useful later as you like why I want to do it in as an instance. So right now let's create component. So now it's actually a component that could be reusable. Well, let's also make this card template a component. So now it's also something that could be replicable. So when you see that it as a component and then if you copy it, this will becomes an instance. For example, let me stretch this. Okay, so this will be our card template instance. I will also demo how it's being changed over here. So I'll rename this as the card instance. So for example, you can see this, we have a component of the icon here, and then I'm holding my Alt key and then dragging it in here, and then you can see the instance of that component, the card template, also changed. Because well, if you're changing, for example, if you're deleting the icon, if you're deleting the icon from the instance, it's not going to influence the template. However, if you're deleting, I'm just like double clicking it so that I can go to the next hierarchy. If you're deleting the template from here, it's going to also delete it from the instance. So that's their kind of like parent relationship. Okay, so now you have an instance. What you want to create is an instance swap. So under your card template here, you find the icon. Well, let me group this. You find the icon. This is the instance that you just dragged in. If you see that there's like a empty sort of like cylinder, well, not cylinder, like diamond, that means it's an instance. If it's sort of like 4 diamonds together, it's a component. So instance is the child, and then component is the parent. So if you select that, and then you go to beside the name, you can find this button that's called Create Instance Swap Property, and then you click that, and you can name it as icon. It's gonna automatically set everything for you, and then create property. So now you actually have an instance swap property. So if you go to the instance here, you can see it pops up a new selection for you. So now you can go to the icon. I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate this icon, and then I'm gonna right click, find detach instance. Gonna detach it, and then I'm gonna change something in there. I'm gonna delete this thing inside. I'm gonna draw something different inside there. I'm gonna draw this triangle, let's say. Okay, yeah, there we go. And then I'm gonna go back to the design view, select the select tool, select this frame, right click, and then you find create component, or you can also do hold Alt, Control, Command and K. Well, I'm just gonna create component, so I will name this as icon heart, and then this as icon triangle, and then I'm gonna group them into like a section, sorry. I'm gonna section them into a group. This is called icons. Yeah. And now, well, you know why I do that. So now if you go to the instance here, you can see that they have a triangle that you can choose. You can say this. You can swap it very easily between these two. Now I probably should actually I should move this outside. Probably it will group it better. So now yeah. So you want to keep this like you want to group all your icons the same kind of instance swap together, so that they're kind of like grouped in this way that's like grouped by sections. You go to icon, and now there's all the icons that you can pick. So that is instance swaps. Okay, so so here, for example, I have these two images that are from, well, those are from the previous board game nights. That after you were done with it, you should be able to also display your cards in the board game nights. But basically, well, now I also rename some of the frames. For example, this one should be text effect text, and then like this is the image frame. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag this in here, and then as a template, and then drag it in the image frame under the image frame. So now it's being clipped because the image frame has clip content enabled. And then I will also position it to wherever I think it should be. But now if you're in the instance, you won't really be able to move this whatever way you want. You can't move this image. At most, you could change what's inside the fill, but yeah, but in order to like change the image itself, you will have to go to the fill, and then like change the image, upload from your computer. Let's say if well, for example, I choose this image. This is a card that I was designing before, and then if you drag it, the way that the image is displayed is automatically changed to crop, because that is how you kind of like crop the image. And then yeah, so now that's just how, if you're using image, that's how your image will be displayed in the card. So now, after talking about instance swaps, I want to talk about how you can create the back within each of the cards. So in the template, and then this is the inside card. I want to create another card frame. Well, I will just copy and paste. I will name this, well, it's gonna look the same right now, nothing's changing, but actually there's a duplicate of it. I would call it back. I'm not gonna change. I'm gonna delete everything that's within the inside card. And then, so this is the back. And actually, I'm gonna change the color of the back too, so that it looks different enough. Let's say, okay, so this is, let's say this is the back. You can design your back in a different way, obviously. I'm gonna detach this from the font style before, and then this is the back. Or like you can name it, yeah, whatever. But this will be the design of your back, so you probably want to design it differently. Let's say this is the cool card. Such a bad name. Anyway, put it here. So this will be the back. And then go to the appearance here. And then you see there's the eye here, and then there's also apply variable or property. So you will click that, and then there's no variable property that's available, and then you can create a variable property, and then you can call this back. I would just call it back question mark, which means basically like, is it in the back or not? So the value, keep it to truth. So now it's basically the appearance, which means the visibility of this card, this back frame is linked to a Boolean value, which is a true or false toggle basically off the back. So now if you go to the instance, right now the back is toggled as true. If you switch it, it becomes the front. So that is how you can create the associate the variable, the boolean, to the back of it. And of course you can also just like toggle it to false by default, so that whenever you're creating a new card, it's the front card by default. So basically now you are set to create more cards. I would say think about the template first before creating more cards, because later if you're changing the templates, it will be a little bit complicated, but it's still changeable. You might need to mess with some of the settings, because there's a lot of hierarchical things here. But next thing I want to talk about is how you can design sort of like after you're done with your cards and you actually want to print it out. So how you can design that printout forms. So you will go to frame, and then you will under paper create a letter size page, let's say, and then print letter, rename this, and then select this. You will go to layout and then do toggle auto layout, and then select horizontal. I would say horizontal is fine, and then you will select wrap. Okay, so now you have this card here. You will move it inside, and then if you just duplicate them, you can see they are just wrapping up. Just automatically arranged it for you. And right now it's aligned to the left and the top, which is okay, but like it will be hard for you to do double-sided. So over here, if you select auto layout, it will have an auto alignment. I would select it to align center, just align to the exact center. So now it's a little bit too much. So okay, 6 cards, perfect. And then so that will be ready for you to print basically. And now I will select these, all of these, and then I will go to edit, copy as SVG, and then we'll go to Illustrator. Well, now actually if you want to just export this as PDF, you could, and then that will be also good for printing. because it's already in letter size format. So you would just select PDF and then just export, and then that's good for you to print. I mean, you will also create a set that is all the back. Let's say, and then you select each of them. Toggle to back. So now they're all to the back. Okay, so now after you have copied the thing as SVG, if you go to your Illustrator, well, the Illustrator right now I have already copied the thing in, but I basically created a new document of letter size, and then and then I created a copy, a folder, a document of letter size, and then I basically Command Shift and V, paste in all the SVG path. Well, if you're doing this, I would say any images that you have put on there is not gonna be there, because this only passing anything that you create with Figma itself, and also the text will be changed into path instead of font. So anything you want to change the font, you would change it in Figma. But if you want to just do, like, for example, you changed all the effects here and then you just upload an image in Illustrator, you could do that. Or you can like do more changes in Illustrator later. So for example, like this is the image frame, so there's nothing in here right now. I would actually like click this and make sure that I isolate the clip group here, and then let's say if I drag this image in, this is a very big folder, and then I just drag it under that group. Yeah, under the clipboard group, and then I can shrink it to the size I want and then place it in the place I want. So this is in the case if you are worried about sizes and then how it's print out, and then you want to use Adobe Illustrator for it, then you could do that, and then you can also print off from Illustrator, or you can also export PDF. So the good thing about using Illustrator is that when you export PDF, the DPI will be 300 instead of 72, because we are using 72 for Figma. That means when we export the PDF, it's also gonna be 72 DPI, which you could. I do have a way to change it, but it's a little bit complicated. I kind of need to use some scripts and stuff. It's kind of slow. But if you're using Illustrator, it will export as a normal 300 DPI PDF, which could be pretty easy to print. Because then you wouldn't need to like shrink too much. I would say like export. Well, I would actually just do print, setup, kind of like that, and then we don't need to mark whatever, and then actually export as PDF here. Yeah, sorry, PDF, and then you could say this is the cards. You could also export multiple boards. For example, in your artboard, where's your artboard? There's paragraph in your artboards. So this is your artboards, but then you could create another artboard and then like have more cards here, and then you could export both of them. Export as PDF. When you're using PDF, you're using artboard and then you export all of them, or you can select the range, depends on you, and then export a PDF. So after being exported, I mean, you could also select bleeds, but we have already had bleeds and crop marks built in. I'll put should be fine. I'll select image quality to high. Do not downsize, actually. Do not downsample. Yeah. Okay. Or average downsample. Average downsample. Do not downsample. Average downsample. Okay, yeah, that sounds good. That looks good. Export to PDF. Okay. And then we have the PDFs. So this is the PDF for the cards. And then if you're exporting from Figma, a cool plugin I usually use is called Lazy PDF. I just click that because that will enable you to export a bunch of pages together. Usually if you export PDF on its own, it's gonna like export you 2 PDFs instead of 1. So exported PDF, export PDF. Just creating PDF. Wait a little bit, and then carts. I'm gonna name it as Cards by Lele. Cards from Figma by Lele. Okay, and then that's the other kind of PDF that we got. So this PDF is directly exported from Figma. Its DPI is actually 72, so the size of it will be pretty big, but the resolution is not that big. So for these, but the image will not be shrinked if you're just printing it. So if you're printing this, you would kind of have to fit instead of doing the actual scaling. Well, actually doing doing the actual scaling will kind of like become a little bit too big. So you would need to fit it instead of doing the actual scaling. Whereas if you're doing the thing exported from Illustrator, and also I think their color profile is slightly different. If you're exporting it from Illustrator, then you could. Oh, you also need a fit. Yeah. Anyway, so I think it's probably the same. I mean, anyway, so if you want to like use Illustrator as a sort of like midway export, you can. And it seems like the color profile is a little different because I think this is using a more digital color profile on RGB, but like the Illustrator, I think this will probably look more like how like how the printed ones look like, because it's not gonna be as bright as these. But yeah, so that's how you create a layout for your cards, and then like this will be ready to print and cut later.